Hello guys and welcome to episode 21 of Air Tycoon Online. Today, I'm just really happy because I have a super duper high profit now. Um, if we take a look at this, I think I'm making like 455k per turn, and I actually had a larger margin than ever before. And the very surprising but unlikely reason for this is the Boeing 747. Leasing Boeing 747s is simply one of the most powerful strategies available in this game. I've started to put these larger aircraft on all my best routes, and essentially just each Boeing 747 is like making like 3 or 4 routes with DC-8s. So, the 17 freaking Boeing 747s I have right now is literally like, even though they're leased, each one is making the same amount of money as 3 or 4 DC-8 62s. So those 17 planes are like, a huge increase in my profit because they're just so big. And because of the ridiculously high satisfaction levels, for whatever reason, they're all able to be full. I mean, like certain routes have pretty poor business and first class performances, but other than that, like most of these 747s are making huge amounts of money. You guys can see, like, um, if I go to my routes and I sort by highest profit, of course, we'll have all the 747s at the top. Oh, that just became competition. Um, he's in my own alliance too. Well, uh, that sucks. Well, I should have blocked opening new routes, same routes with alliances. So maybe I'll do that now. Um, where the frick is the alliance blocking thing? Uh, allow open routes. Sure. I'll wait 5 years before I can change. I'm happy with that. Yeah, as you can see, I also have an alliance now. All this stuff was done off camera yesterday because I didn't get a really long enough period of time, to make a decent recording. This is my friend's alliance, Flight 1. He's doing the second best, and I'm kind of trolling him because he really wanted an airline called Pan Am on his alliance, but I snatched him up real quick, just because he has a lot of competition rounds with my friends, so I thought it'd be fucking really troll if I did that, and I didn't, and I almost feel kind of bad because he's thoroughly tilted by the fact I did that, but it's funny, pretty funny for me nevertheless. So, on the other hand, as you can see, Boeing 747s are overpowered. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I want to be leasing these 747s, and that presents me with an interesting problem, which is, in order to lease these 747s, I need something to do with, I have too many leases already. The game won't let me lease anymore, so I need to start to get rid of some of my existing leases. Now, that means what I have to do is I have to basically go along my routes, find the decent ones, upgrade them to 747s, and then use the DC-8s I get to replace DC-11s, and then, or DC-11s, and then take those DC-11s and return them so I can lease more 747s. Yeah, it's a very complicated thing, but I'm basically replacing planes instead of opening new routes right now because, quite frankly speaking, there's not enough new routes that I can find. Now, a route like this would probably be decent. Los Angeles to Light. Okay, well, let's sort by planes. I feel like that's a bit of an easier way to do it. So now we want to scroll all the way down to DC-811s or DC-862s. Like, I can't, there's not as many good DC-11 routes, I would say, because I typically did not make very many. But something like Mashhad to London to New Orleans would not be a bad route to upgrade to a 747, or Abu Dhabi to London to Abu Dhabi to London to Hamilton. That would not be a bad route to upgrade. I think I might do that, just directly upgrading a DC-8. Like, it doesn't look like a route worth upgrading, but I guarantee you this kind of route does fill up. Um, like, even though the pricing doesn't seem insane, like, this is still a route which will be making, 4K or something like that for each route, and then that makes the DC-8, or that makes the 747 very profitable, of course, if each half of the route is making, 4K, even despite the lease expense. Now, as you can see, a lot of my DC-8s are actually on very bad routes, so it usually takes a while before I find something decent. Like, decentish. Like anything to Los Angeles is actually relatively decent, but I want to look for slightly better ones. Let's see if we can find any. This route looks okay, but not great. I'm trying to find a route where both sides of the route are decent. Or something like Los Angeles to Saipan to Nantes is a decent route, but one side is competition. Here we have Los Angeles. This route looks decent. Let's upgrade this route to a 747. And then we can use the DC-8 we got to, replace DC-11s, and use those replaced DC-11s to finally order more 747s. So let's, of course, increase that price and increase this first class price, which is by far the most annoying aspect of using stopovers. And then what do we have to do now? Now we go into our inventory, go into our DC-11s, and I'm simply just going to start replacing these old DC-11s with DC-62s. I know that route doesn't seem like it's worth salvaging, but why not anyway? A route like this, yep. Yep, so that's replaced. London to Karachi. I almost thought that would still be a monopoly for some reason, but I guess London does have a sizable amount of competition, so, yep. So let's replace that. And London to New York, alright. The most competition in the game. Hey, it's actually profitable. That's pretty surprising. That's pretty funny. But yeah, as you can see, these are the first routes I made. And the reason for me still having all these routes is just because I'm too lazy to delete them. The other half of the stopover might be doing okay. It's not really, but like, at this point, I'm no longer bothered about deleting routes because deleting routes just takes a decently long time, basically. So yeah, let's get rid of all these unused DC-811s. Yeah. Let's get rid of this too. London to Mumbai. Well, now you are a DC-862. And what's the next one? Yeah, basically, I don't really, literally want to be replacing these planes. I would usually let them run down to the end of their lifespan. But because 747s are so overpowered, I really want to be opening up new leases available to be used by the 747s, basically. Because 747s leased are just insanely profitable. As you guys saw. So I don't mind buying new aircraft to replace some of my leased ones just to enable myself to buy a shit ton more 747s. All my airplane slots are being used. So I'm going to come back in like 40 minutes when all of this is set and done. Now, in the meantime, actually, I just want to show you guys something. If we look at my company value graph, you guys can see the effect of leases. Here was a big leasing spree. Here was a big leasing spree of 747s when the 747 just came out. That was me going to sleep, and look at how steep that graph is now climbing. And now that I'm leasing 747s again, we're gonna have a little nick downwards before shooting straight back up. So that's pretty funny. Also, on another note, you guys can probably see that me in first place are separated by what you'd probably consider a decent amount in about 4.5 million K. And that seems like a lot, but it's actually not, because the gap as a percentage between me and him is closing. I remember a while ago I was more than 50% behind him, and now I'm less than 50% behind him. And what I mean by 50% behind him is he used to be like 150% the size of my company. Now he's much less than 150% the size of my company. So that means I'm going to actually catch up with him soon. I did take a look at his company statistics. I went into this thing and then I paid the 2 credits to look at his company. But it was in the middle of an oil spike, so it wasn't too accurate. But what he did have is extremely high advertising investment costs. If you guys look at my company, let me guys show you real quick. The advertising investment expense is very low, only 50K, and the service investment expense is also very low. He had 50K service investment expense and 150,000 investment cost, and he was at that time still making 200K. So I'm assuming now that we're not in a fuel spike, he's probably making around 250K a turn or more. If he canceled those investments, he'd have about the same profit as me. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to share with you guys that information. Continuing on this number one player, I also want to mention his routes. What I noticed when I was playing with him is, if you guys can see here, I took screenshots of almost all his routes, and I'll start at the beginning, I guess, of what I noticed about his company. So here's his profit report. As you can see, 213,000. Extremely high advertising investment and service investment cost, um, which I was impressed by. Like, he's still pretty profitable at the, like, for during the middle of this fuel spike. Also, I noticed he has incredibly low fuel costs, and I was a bit confused by that. Why is his fuel cost so low? Like, um, doesn't really make sense to me. His fuel cost should not have been so low, because I did some quick math. He had 218 aircraft. I had 250 aircraft. I had some pretty small aircraft, so his fuel cost should not have been, 2.5 times lower than mine. My fuel cost was, at this time, 260,000, if I can find my own report. Yeah, this was my own report from the same turn. This is in the middle of a fuel crisis, so my fuel expense was like what, like 2.5 times higher than his, and I was really confused by that. So I was like, why is that? Then I started thinking, well, first of all, he must be using fuel tanks. I can't see them, but just by the power of basic logic, he has to be using them to have that low of a fuel cost compared to me. The next thing I noticed is his planes were performing surprisingly well. I was like, huh, some of these planes are doing better than I thought they would be doing. And then looking at all these routes, they're all direct, they're all making decent profit. And I was like, huh, that's odd. And then I noticed the reason for that is so many of his planes are gemmed. These are gemmed in both speed and fuel efficiency, which is why his planes use so little fuel. They're not in the air for as long as mine while using less fuel than mine. He's got super engines, he's got boosted ranges. As you can see, the 707 320B usually only has 9,300 range. Look at how far down the list of his aircraft I go before we end up with aircraft with 9,300 range. Like, almost half of all his, like, 707Bs have credits spent on them. Same story with his DCA 11s. And I was just amazed at how many gems this first place player is using, and we're going to beat him in the end, so that's pretty funny. Alright guys, very quickly, I just got to use my last couple Boeing 747s. I just have a couple more, so let's find some routes for them real quick. Let's quickly scroll down to these DC-8s and just find some routes to make them work. Akita to Los Angeles, sure, why not? It's not a bad route, it's not a good route, but we need to be fast at this point. There's only 2 minutes left in the take, and I just want to, get the 747s en route as to not waste their beautiful profit for a turn. So that's one. Akita to Los Angeles, Harbin to Los Angeles, Brussels to Los Angeles, Prague to Los Angeles, Geneva to Los Angeles, Stuttgart to Los Angeles. Let's go with this one. Yes. Let's upgrade this to a 747 as well. Like, routes to Los Angeles for me appear to be some of the only ones in the world which are able to support direct routes with high pricing and be full. No, did I just miss this one? Well, I'm just gonna keep spamming this until it lets me. But well, hopefully that went through. I'm not sure if it will have. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess we're just waiting for the tick to refresh now. Once it finally does, maybe it'll be time to, buy a few more Boeing 747s. Like, how much do these cost? For a lease of 5? Yeah, we can lease 5 now. Sweet. Now, cancel this request and just wait for the turn to pass to make sure, I don't get charged this turn for anything that goes on. Come on, turn. You can pass. I'll be back once the turn passes. And guys, the turn has passed, but unfortunately my report actually has not gone up. I've had quite a significant increase in expenses, but not a very significant increase in income. But I guess that's expected with a whole bunch of new aircraft, most of which I haven't even been able to use yet. Yeah, we still have some DC-862s. We have managed to use our 747s, so I'm curious, how much are those ones making? Yeah, so a lot of these were the best 747 routes from before. but some of these are still very, very good. Um, yeah, they're all doing pretty well. Uh, for example, things like Rabat to Los Angeles are doing well. Akita to Los Angeles, not quite doing as well as I thought. A little bit emptied out. I guess the prices were just a little bit too high, so you got to lower those to, a level which will probably have better chance of being full. Something like that would probably be better. Um, yeah, so as you can see, the 747s, they just do so well. Even the worst, what you would expect to be the worst 747 routes still do pretty well. And the good ones, they just astronomically good. Like Los Angeles to Barcelona, fantastic. Unfortunately, however, where's that other one? Los Angeles to There's another route, Los Angeles to Bangkok, or London to Bangkok, which seemed to have fallen off the face of the earth. I can't even find it anymore. I'm curious, what happened to that route? What happened to that route? London to Bangkok. What happened? Holy crap. Well, I have competition now on this route, so no longer profitable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this airplane off and just put a DC-8. And, you know, just because I'm going to troll this guy, I'm going to use pretty low pricing just to screw with his 747. It's not going to be screwing with his 747 very much. But whatever, it'll free me up another 747 to use that. Damn, that really fell off the face of the earth. Yeah, I'm not bothered to compete, as you can see. Yeah, I guess it's time to, just get more planes on 747s. Let's order as many as the game allows us. 747. I think that's a pretty good layout. Just 5 of them normal order. Let's see how many more we can order. What was it? 747s, right? Damn, we're allowed to order a lot. That's pretty nice. Okay, we're allowed to order 7 of them. And I guess in the meantime, then, I'll just start to use some of the cargo aircraft I have. I need more slots in Chicago, first of all, a lot of which just opened. So, maybe I'll just do Los Angeles first, but Los Angeles to Portland looks like an option. So let me get some slots in Portland. Where else is an option? Los Angeles has actually been taken with quite a level of thoroughness. Actually, it's pretty difficult for me to find too many more routes, but I can do St. Louis. So I'll be back once some of those slot requests have finished. Actually, I can probably do this one right now. Not with an aircraft, but with a cargo. Like this. And yeah. Cargo, so I'm not too concerned with the exact profit of my cargo routes. Just want to not look too bad in the cargo department, basically. Yeah, as you can see, my value is still vaulting up by leaps and bounds, despite me leasing a large amount of aircraft, which quite literally kills value. But anyways, I'll be back in a bit. Hey guys, and we're back. We have our 747s arrived, so let's just, make some more routes. That looks like a decent route, actually. Where's the other half of that route? Never mind. Every time you see a good route in the profit list, it's never the same as when you see it in the actual planes list, because you can't see the other half of the stopover, so you don't often know what you're getting into. So let's look for some routes. London to Chittagong. Chittagong is not a very big city. Yeah. This actually takes a while sometimes spotting a decent route. Yeah, I actually can't find any. There's that Los Angeles to Saipan one, which I really want to upgrade, but I'm not going to. Leads to Los Angeles and Los Angeles to Concepcion. That looks like a decent route. Harbin to... This one looks better. This looks like a good route, so I think we're going to do that. I know Manaus is not a particularly large city, but I mean, I have a lot of 747s available. So just using a few on routes which don't seem as good will, eventually be the norm. Of course, the first few 747s look really, really nice. Ooh, I got another. Okay. Some person spamming advertisement for another Miami airport. Okay, that's, one of the least important things imaginable to me. I always find it amusing when people build new airports which aren't in large cities, and then they'll never get filled up when you could, spend the credits anywhere else and have better results. Yeah, so I was thinking of doing something like this. Probably this. Yep, I'll make that into a route with a 747. It's mainly for the Los Angeles to Kagoshima leg, which should be very, very profitable once the plane gets going and fills up. So that's nice. Yeah, 747s are just so profitable. Like one of my friends, I was nearly doubling his profit, as you know. He was making around 120,000. I was making around 250,000 per turn. And basically, once the 747 came out, that gap has remained almost consistent, but he is now making 400,000 a turn, and while I'm making 446,000 a turn, so that gap has actually shrunk since the 747 came out, just simply because he hadn't used any of his available leases. So he basically cashed in and leased as many aircraft as possible, and the result of that was incredibly high profit for him. However, once I catch up and lease more aircraft myself, I should be catching up too. Now I think I've stumbled upon a vein of decent routes. Los Angeles to Glasgow, that is certainly a good route. So I can basically jump in and replace a bunch of these routes. Okay, yes, I've found a vein of good routes. So all these routes are very good and are more than capable of operating with 747s. So let me quickly change all of these over to 747s while remembering to increase the first class price, because that's one of the most annoying things in the game, is adjusting all the prices to first class. Um, Liverpool to Los Angeles, yes, perfect. All of these routes are great 747 routes. Wow, that's 6 schedules a week now too. So this should be a very profitable route. Like, I don't know, like 5 to 6 million a turn. And you have to remember, when I'm using these 747s and I'm making 5 to 6 million per turn on one half of a stopover route, that half of the stopover route literally only considers, well, that's a great route. Only considers the net profit after the lease expense. I'm pretty sure, at least. So with that in mind, like, these 747s are truly making a huge amount of money. Like, it's pretty insane. Um, yeah, as you can see though, look at the quality of the routes I'm getting. Um, Daegu to Los Angeles to Toulouse, like, that's a beautiful route. All those cities, Daegu and Toulouse, are both above 300 combined business and tour. Los Angeles is the biggest city in this Air Tycoon Online world, so it's honestly still a very good route. As you can see, I have one more. Let's see. Uh, Los Angeles to Manchester to Mangua, another great route. So let's quickly make that awesome. So that's all the 747s. Now I have to decide whether I want to make new routes with my remaining aircraft. I feel like one of these routes is going to have a really low first class price. Yep, there it is. Yeah, so basically what I'm saying is I'm going to have a really low first class price for some of these routes, and I'm wondering if I should use my remaining DC-8s for making more flights, or should I find um, basically replacing DC-11s, but let's find out which I can do. Now, do I see any possible cities to end this stopover in? I don't think I do. Yep, there's not one city available. There's just... I could... Nope. Santo Domenico, Kingston, nope. Yeah, like, I think there's just not a single available city. Um... Sorry, fucking sneeze. Guess I'm cold or some shit like that. I don't know. Alright, let's look at Lost... Ooh. Always gotta, take the opportunity to get more slots in the main airports when possible. But alright, let's see what I can find. So, we're gonna do here to Los Angeles, and then a stopover to... I'm not sure, can you see anywhere? No cities there. Edmonton, I can do Edmonton. Alright, sweet. Yeah, so as you can see, I really like to do literally any route possible with DC-8s. And the reason for that is really just because literally any route from a city like London will fill up. Um, I even started to request slots in cities like Nanjing and just very, very small cities. Like Nanjing is like barely 100. I know it's going to grow a little bit bigger, so I especially don't mind doing routes like this. But it's just pretty interesting because in no Air Tycoon games before this, I've ever bothered to make such small routes. But I feel like in this Air Tycoon Online, it's actually one of the first ones where you can make these kind of routes, and they're all viable now. As you guys can see, basically, I had 60 Z8s remaining, I think, and I think I want to save my last 5 to replace existing DC-11s, basically just so that I can make sure I can lease, 5 more Boeing 747s every few turns, or every 30 minutes, basically, because those 747s are really going to be the cash cows. Like the few 747s I have right now, the 28, are probably making a similar amount to the rest of like my DC-8 fleet, which is pretty insane. But anyways, as you guys can see, actually, I have literally connected every city to London, like with almost no exceptions. Yeah, I don't think there's a single city in Asia which has an airport which I have not connected to it, which is a monopoly for me. I could do shit like this to London, but then I don't remember having anywhere to finish the stopovers in. Let me guys show you. Uh, okay, I could probably finish the stopover in Port-au-Prince. Nope, it's not long enough. And that's not long enough. That's not long enough. And then these cities down here are too far. So, yeah, basically, there's no airports in the correct range to make this possible. Yeah. So, I guess then, how many DC-8s do I have unused? 6. I need to use 1. How hard can it be? I'll make a Los Angeles direct flight. Los Angeles direct flights are some of the few direct flights which, in my opinion, can support. It's not really an opinion, I guess, which in fact can support a direct flight, even if the direct flight does not have the best business and tour numbers. So I can take something like Los Angeles to Basel direct, and then charge a moderately high price, and then it'll still be full. So I can do something like that. Next, just make that route, and it's pretty good. So the last thing I want to do is I just want to replace some DC-11s, and I'm just going to go in order of age. So London to Detroit, that's probably not going to be making... Oh, it's actually making a decent amount of money. That's not bad. I wish there was a way to more quickly navigate between routes. Let me see if it's possible to do so. Like, I want to navigate to the next DC-8 like that. Is that working? Oh no, that's just within the stopover. Wait, what? Did I just replace a DC-11 with a DC-11? That's what I did. Okay. Um, yeah, I wish there was a way to move to the next aircraft faster than navigating all the way back through so many menus. It's kind of annoying. I hope that for replacing planes in the future, the auto replace works. If I can't figure out how to use the auto replace, because for some reason I struggle to figure out simple things, but not so much to figure out complicated things, then hopefully my friend um, can help me figure that out. So, yeah. Minneapolis to London, that's actually a decent stopover route to Lagos. Well, hopefully I see that route next time I'm scrolling through my routes, because that would be a decent 747 route. Um, so yeah, let's return these 5 planes. How do I like return all of them? Oh, these are bought planes. Oh god. So then I have to replace leased aircraft with these bought aircraft. God damn it. I forgot I had a few actually purchased DC-11s, which if I ever do another playthrough, I won't do that. But Yeah, let's return all the leased ones because I don't need them. This is a leased aircraft. Let's replace it with one of these purchased ones. I hate the button presses. They're all in different locations. It's a bit hard. So let's return this plane. And last but not least, this is the next leased plane.
What?
Alright guys, so basically finished off all of those, and now I'm just going to order some 747s. And yeah, basically that's all I really wanted to do this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I'm talking quietly, but that's because... what? I can only lease 4? Okay, whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time.